TGN fam and YouTube, what is up? In our Tech File Overtime finale for the TGN network, we are
Yes, sir.
going to be taking a look at the new Netflix documentary, The Redeem Team, doing a little Tech File Cinema, telling y'all how we felt about it, recapping the action, and just having a general conversation about it. So we hope y'all enjoy it. We're going to get into it right after the theme hits.
It's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3, aka aka Mr. Give It To Me. I'm trying to be quiet but excited at the same time. Is it working?
I feel it coming through. I feel it coming through.
I'm the RJ.
Only known as.
The RJ.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door. Holding it down for all the women who love sports.
And it's your boy K Harris, the gentleman,
Legend.
the everyday gentleman,
24/7.
but better known as K Diddy.
Take that.
Damn, bro.
Now, at
Turn the polos off, my nigga. All that ass ain't, it ain't even Thursday yet.
whoa,
Huh, you
whoa,
said what?
sir,
He wildin', bro.
you are wild and
Beautiful. The liquor game.
Ain't nobody
is
tell me
over.
react to that screen like that, bro.
Damn, he watching the Lakers. You out here taking it to a whole different level. But no, everybody listening, as mentioned in the intro, this is our finale with the Good News Network. We've been doing our podcast since 2017. We joined on with Good News, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. I know it was during the pandemic. And we've been rocking with them ever since. And as the network has grown and undergone some changes, one thing that required us to do was to create this second show to be exclusive to the Good News Radio Network. And at this point in our lives, in our podcasting careers, as one might say, we can't do it no more, boss. We gave it a try. We've definitely grown and learned, and we have nothing but love for the Good News Network.
For sure.
So we're going to
Absolutely.
go out with a bang discussing a documentary that once we saw the preview, bang, saw the preview for, we were just kind of like, oh, yeah, we got to do a Tech Foul Cinema on this. And that is about the Redeem Team. This documentary here on Netflix, just recapping that 2008 Olympic team, the history behind it, and kind of why they were significant in the first place. So to start, let's talk about why the Redeem Team even had to be, and go back and take a look at that 2004 Olympic team. So the documentary kicks off, and I was startled because the first thing you hear is kind of like Kobe's voice, and I was like, oh wait, I didn't
realize he was gonna be.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't the first thing I thought I was going to hear. And then you see him sit down with LeBron. Okay, like this is young LeBron. I can always tell LeBron's age by the hairline, what the hair is doing.
Oh no.
And the beard. That's a good point. Like his face is going to tell me what era of LeBron this is. And as soon as I saw that line in the way it was, I said, "Oh, this is young LeBron still." He's still young. So you see it kick off that way, and they kind of recap that 2004 team that lost twice in the Olympics to take home a bronze medal. And first question I just have for y'all is, like, seeing that recap of the 2004 team, was there anything that y'all forgot or was reminded of and was like, dang, I forgot that happened, or didn't even know and was shocked to learn when just kind of recapping that 2004 team?
No, that 2004 team was vivid. I'm a big, like, I love the Olympics. So whenever like basketball came around, I was, even though I wasn't like big into it like early on, it was the United States in an Olympic sport, and I'm like, okay, I know what basketball is. I played basketball, whatever the case may be, even though I wasn't into it deep like the NBA yet. but getting older, understanding it, like, yeah, that shit was them niggas was vivid. It's like it was a reminder of we really went in there and was like, just because we did the shit, we made the shit, we the shit. We've always been the shit, we're gonna be the shit. And they got smoked, boy. They got smoked. And it was a reminder of kind of like, yeah, don't take this shit for granted. Like even today, like the best players in the NBA are not from the United States.
Giannis,
Jokic,
Luka. Yeah, 4-5 right there.
it's already at the time they were saying it was catching up, but no, it's caught up for sure. You got generational talent coming from other countries, not the United States. So yeah, there was a vivid reminder. You can't go in and just think that we got this shit because you made the shit. Pegasus and Yu-Gi-Oh. My bad.
Ken, Eric.
I don't know, like it felt a little contradictory, like the way they framed it, where it's like they set it up like all these people dropped out, nobody wanted to go, and that nobody had any expectations because it was a young team and blah blah blah, and then it was like they were also disappointed because they didn't do anything because they were young. You know what I mean? Like it's like you can't have it both ways, where you set it up that this team is underwhelming, and then the team loses, and then you're like, well, they were supposed to come in and win, like Houseway. So like, I mean, like that was always my impression of the 04 team. Like I didn't look at it as like they failed. I look at it like the U.S. sent their B team, and then they threw them together like less than a month before the game started. They didn't have enough time to gel. They had the worst possible coach for that team. Like it was a perfect storm of bullshit. You know what I mean? So I didn't look at it as a failure. I looked at it as, you know, an unserious team, and their chickens came home to roost, essentially.
In the documentary, making this Malcolm X song. In the documentary, they had like a news clipping where they were saying like all the players who dropped out, and I paused the screen. So I was like, I want to see who dropped because I didn't remember. Like, I had forgotten. Like that's the very first Olympic Games after 9/11, and thinking back to what the world was like at that time and that point, and how safety was an actual concern for Americans at that point. Was like, well, I'm not exactly sure how the rest of the world is going to really receive me right now, but the players who dropped: Ray Allen, Mike Bibby, Elton Brand, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, Kevin Garnett, Jason Kidd, Karl Malone, Kenyon Martin, Tracy McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, and Shaquille O'Neal.
Still prime players, or like near prime.
Pretty much everybody she just named was in their primes.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Like that team right there probably could have won a gold, but when they, as Eric mentioned, they had Larry Brown come into place, and Larry Brown was not about to play no young guys.
He was not it.
He came in with his actual coaching, like nah, bro. I know y'all all on here, but we can't play you still. Like, why?
The NBA was the one kind of like, okay, well, let's get our young, like, you got some young talent, like them, like let them cook. And then Larry Brown's like, no, thank you. I'd rather not.
Shit, the vets there was hating on them too. Like, nah, bro, y'all the young asses stay over there. We gonna go ahead hoop over here.
I don't know if I would use the word hating. It just felt more like it was cliquish. Like the old dudes were already, like they knew who they were, and they had some camaraderie. And then there's the three young, like these three rookies who just finished their rookie year. Of course, they gonna kind of naturally.
But it's three of them. If you got a roster of 12 to 15, like it's 3 kids. Y'all couldn't incorporate 3.
I mean, it came full circle for Carmelo, because then on the 2012 or 2016 team, one of those teams, it was 2016 because everybody else had dropped off, like all the older ones. But it was him and a bunch of kids like born in the late 80s, early 90s, and he's just like watching them sing like Miley Cyrus or something on the plane, and he's just like, "How the fuck did I get here?" So like it happens. Like, you know, like there's an age gap. It's like Aaron Rodgers being in the same locker room as somebody born in 2002. Like,
Ain't that Jair?
What they got in what do they have in common besides occupation?
Shoot, I mean, think about if you work with anybody who's far younger than you, it's kind of like, all right, but we're in different stages of life. Like we might have some things in common, but like
there's a 9-year gap between me and my coworker.
Or it's like, I don't know if we're gonna kick it. But Ken, did you have any thoughts on the 04 team that you wanted to share?
Not really. I guess going back to it, like I honestly forgot that Larry Brown was the coach, and then like realizing like he wasn't it, like for real, like he wasn't that dude for this team.
Yeah. To be fair, it was right after the chip.
I was gonna say like that was why he was selected as coach because he was coming off the title, but again, like that's coming off the title with a bunch of veteran players. Like after he had already flamed out with Iverson in Philadelphia, like Larry Brown had a very entrenched reputation at that point. So Team USA, whoever preceded Jerry Colangelo, like you knew what you were getting with Larry Brown. You still went down that road. Like 2002 team in the World Championships failed because they had George Karl. Like those aren't the coaches that you want if you want a stable environment. Like that's why Coach K is perfect. Like he's tough, but he's fair. He's not abrasive like that. Like he's very welcoming. Like George Karl, Larry Brown, like that's not the MO at all.
Fuck you.
And one more. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say, just to underscore your point, like they were in the 2003 like America's tournament. The Team USA was Iverson, Kidd, McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, Vince Carter, Mike Bibby, Kenyon Martin, Ray Allen, Tim Duncan, Elton Brand, Richard Jefferson. Like that team would have won gold.
Yeah. Rather than the team that we did, I need to actually pull up the official 04 roster. But I just want to say, when they started talking about that team and they showed that first game against Puerto Rico, I was sitting there and I was like, oh yeah, we did get waxed in the very first.
No, I ain't know. Yeah, the Carloses. Delfino and Arroyo cooking their ass, bro.
Delfino's
Argentina, ain't he?
Oh shit, this Arroyo, my bad.
Yeah,
Delfino is Argentina.
Delfino was my boy. I had the little jersey shirt when he played for the Bucks. Delfino, that was my guy.
Yeah. Arroyo
he just looked like he smoked cigarettes.
he
smoked cigarettes
for the game.
Arroyo was always like I've always had like a weird fandom of different players. Carlos Arroyo, because of his Olympic runs, was one of my favorite players because I'm like, bro, dude be cooking. He need to get over to the league. See what he can do over in the league. He came over in the league. He ain't really do that in the league, but he still scored. Delfino could still put the ball in the net. He just wasn't what I thought he would be after that international game. Same thing came in the fandom with Rubio. Same way. He was cooking in the United States. I'm like, bro, this motherfucker's a cold-ass point guard. Yeah. So he came over to the United States. I had big hoop dreams for him. I'm still a fan of Rubio to this day. But, like, my fandom for different players come from random shit like that. Just so y'all know. But Arroyo cooking in the United States, I was not happy, but I fucked with it.
And wasn't like that's kind of like the big difference between like to underscore this whole point. Like the 2004 team again was thrown together. What did Melo say? Like 2-3 weeks before they had to leave for injuries. Like think about the Argentinian team. Those teams grew up playing together. Spain, same thing. Puerto Rico team, same thing. That Greece team, same thing. Like these are because these countries only have so much basketball talent. Like they have the same team consistently year to year, and because like a lot of those countries are like soccer centric countries, like playing for your national team is like the highest honor. Like they actually like place country over club, as opposed to U.S. where it's like, okay, cool. Like I'll give up my summer for this one time, but
I'm gonna throw this flag on real quick.
I'll go get a gold medal, but I like before Colangelo, like they weren't committing like year after year to participate.
Yeah, and it's a long road to get to that Olympic gold, and it's like it was fun too. Just think about the time period, and I think Tim mentioned it, where it's like we made this game. It's our game. We're gonna walk in this gym and we're gonna win. We can send the B squad. It don't even matter. Like, we gonna win. And at that point, the rest of the world was like, no. The rest of the world has caught up. Like, it's not sweet no more. This game is going global. And at this point, all the talent is not concentrated in the United States. Like, you better come ready to play.
And you playing their rules.
Exactly.
You're not playing NBA rules. You're playing international rules.
Exactly. That's a great point. So they lose. One thing I forgot. So I was kind of laughing when Carmelo was like, we came back home and it was just so much disrespect to us, like in our own country. And they played the clip from Jadakiss.
I forgot about that.
I forgot they had a bar about them getting
That's funny.
Watching USA keep losing. Keep getting blowed out.
That's all he talking. He asking all these deep political questions, and then one of the questions he had to ask was, "Why is Team USA getting blown out?" Good question.
I also forgot about Baby Shaq.
What team did he play for?
He played for Argentina.
Okay, for Greece.
Oh, Greece.
Wasn't it Greece?
Greece.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
But I forgot about Baby Shaq. And when he showed up, I was like, damn, this nigga like Ken.
Just because the nigga husky, bro, got him like me. He gonna look shit like me.
He just looked just like you.
That ain't gonna look shit like me, bro.
At all.
Just because the nigga.
I was like, this how Ken would look if he was hooping, bro.
You be.
All right, bro. I'm gonna send that fat coalition at your motherfucking ass. Think it's sweet.
Right. This man
I didn't say nothing about your size. I just said he looked like you.
But he don't look like him, Tim.
He literally does not look like me.
To you?
All three of us say he does not look like me. You know.
Why? You thought Eric ain't said a word.
He shook his head.
Now you talking for him too, Camille. I say he ain't said a word.
You just talked over me when I said I shook my head.
I heard what you said after the fact.
You really think? I wish I could pull this up. I'm gonna find a way to pull it up on the screen.
Cut Ken hair off and keep the facial hair. Yes,
they don't have the same face at all.
Cut Ken hair off.
How do they look like me, bro?
They don't look like Ken at all.
Yeah, what the fuck, bro? They don't look shit like me, bro.
There's no similarity found
at all, bro.
Nothing.
He cut it. You give him a low fade, bro.
If he did, I was like, oh, the nigga look like me.
No. Anyways, moving on. 14 loss.
Can we cut Tim off for the rest of the?
Right. Someone need to give him some coffee or some water or something. This man came back to the game.
He needs some milk.
He needs some shit.
My bad.
Oh, another thing I forgot too, though, is about them staying on the cruise ship.
Yep.
And I know that had to be kind of difficult too, like they were basically isolated from everybody. So I know that played a huge role too.
They didn't get that Olympic experience, staying in the village and all that other stuff that goes along with it.
Kicking with other athletes.
As much as they complained about the bubble, I can only imagine.
Being on a cruise, bro. No, in the middle of the damn ocean after every game, I gotta go sit in the water.
I mean,
it's on the coast. Yeah.
I ain't sitting in that big ass body of water by my damn self, bro.
Regardless of the fact here, now it's time to start looking forward to the 08 team. As Eric mentioned already, Larry Brown was out. Coach K comes in. It was funny hearing some of the player reactions like, I don't really F with him. Like, this does not excite me for U.S. basketball. I'm not interested at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that was kind of the turning point for Coach K, was becoming the national team coach, because he developed those relationships with Kobe, with LeBron, Carmelo, Chris Paul, all of them, and then he used those connections to kind of recruit the Kyries, Jason Tatums, and all those. Like, once Duke started chasing one and dones, like, he leveraged those relationships that he had from Team USA for his street cred to get the kids like to come to Duke. So that was actually like, that's what we have to thank for Duke of the last 10 to 12 years.
Mm-hmm. I did think about that often with Coach K and Duke, and how the Olympic team, because of their success after the fact, was beneficial to him a lot, because he never from that point had to actually step foot in the NBA. ever again, because not only did you lead a group of NBA players, you got the gold medal with a group of NBA players that are considered to be divas, got them to play together. Like, if you ever wanted a job in the NBA, of course it was going to be available after that point, but he never had to even consider it no more. Now he had that credibility with not only just the NBA players, but like you said, transitioning that to the street cred with the kids. Now all of the kids come because they see that shit. And you got a whole generation of kids now that want to come to Duke because Coach K coached them to a title with LeBron or Kobe or whoever their favorite player was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge for him.
I would push back on that a little bit. I'm not exactly sure. I feel like Coach K had opportunities to come to the NBA previously to him coaching the Dream or the Redeem team and taking over the reins of USA basketball. But he just never seemed to have an interest in it. Like, he kind of seems like he was the guy who's like, I got a real good thing going at Duke right now. I'm happy with this. But to your point, being able to dabble with that NBA talent through USA basketball, as you mentioned, probably could have satisfied any maybe itch he might have had of thinking about going there, being able to coach them at that level. That's something that probably could have happened for sure. But yeah, I just think Coach K was kind of like, I'm a made man here. Like, I know
where my bread is buttered.
Yeah, like certain college coaches that they only use college as a stepping stone to get to the NBA. But for Coach K, it always seemed like he was just fine being a legend at that level, which he definitely did.
They couldn't let go of that for you, Roy Williams.
Wait, what?
North Carolina coach.
I know who Roy Williams is. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said he couldn't let go of that feud, bro. He had the Long Blue Devils versus Tar Heels.
So with that 08 team, though, with Coach K at the helm, one thing I did forget about them was that they had to qualify for the 08 Olympics. Like, for some reason in my head, I think, again, that American bias, I'm like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, of course we're going to go to the Olympics to hoop because that's what we do. No, they had to fight and scrap for it. And to see them in 06 go, and they're kind of like, okay, we're making these changes and we're growing. And it's one of those things, like, if it was a Disney movie, you would expect them to win at that stage. Like, oh, yeah, like, it came together. Like,
I forgot they lost, too.
They did not. They did not gold. They still had some lumps and growing pains that they had to go through, which makes sense because, like Eric mentioned earlier, the competition has been playing together for years upon years upon years upon years, and this USA team is really trying to establish that type of base. So it was kind of interesting to be like, you are wildin', sir.
That wasn't 2006. It was the the Greece game that they lost, and that's why the 2008, the first game was the get back game.
He's right.
I'm not lying.
Yeah. So like I said, 2004, I wasn't all that surprised that they had lost because, again, like we just talked about it. 2006 was when I was like, oh damn! Like, it wasn't, to your point, it wasn't the Disney ending. It was like, okay, we taking it seriously now. We're not gonna overlook our opponents, and then they still got beat. So like, it wasn't concerning, but it was just like, okay, this ain't as easy as
shit. It was to me.
What was?
It was concerning to me.
No.
I'm like, you niggas actually tried and y'all still lost. Like, ooh.
Are you saying it was concerning to you in real time when it was like going on?
Yeah, because like I said, I follow. I'm a big Olympics World Championships guy. So when it happened, they lost in the FIBA World Cup, and then they turn around and lose, and they lost in the Olympics, then they lost in the World Championships. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Like, we got LeBron, we got Wade, like we got cats that was priming for real, and like y'all lost again. I was like, oof. Maybe the world did catch up.
I know that. So two things about that game. One, I feel like Greece just played a perfect game, or at least a perfect second half. Like, dude's not missing. But then also I remember Giannis saying, like, in Greece, like that was like the moment. Like, that team is still venerated in Greece because it's like they knocked off the Americans. You know, like Baby Shaq was like a legend to black Greeks because of that performance. So, you know, just a fun little side note.
They lost there. Next year they come back together, and it's like, okay, we got to win the FIBA Americas to be able to go to China and compete in the Olympics. And at this point, it's like they got a little extra razzle dazzle that came into the fold here. Kobe Bryant finally shows up. Told them he tired of watching them lose, and it's time to
show them niggas to their face. I'm tired of watching y'all lose.
And it's funny too. It's not funny, but it was interesting because like he was supposed to be on the previous team, but he had all
his whole
other
that's
stuff
when I
going on.
Which
I hated Kobe.
Mention.
You said what?
I think they like they're gonna be like he snitched on Shaq. Like, what did he say about Shaq? Like, y'all can't allude to it and not like say why he wasn't on the team. Like,
hey man, yeah, he here to fit it so they couldn't use it as an eye.
No, but that was the time period where I was like, man, I don't mess with this. I did not mess with him at that time because I mean, just a lot of that. Then he on the court, he was cocky as shit, talking shit. I'm like, bro, I do not like this nigga.
And at that point in his career, he had 3 championships, but all his championships that came with Shaq at his side. So it was the Colorado situation going on, the rape allegations, the Shaq leaving and Shaq getting the ring with D Wade, and how he was going to bounce back and all that. So like at that point in time, Kobe Bryant was not a beloved figure, period. We gotta go to break, but when we come back, we'll continue with the Kobe Bryant conversation about where he was in his career and what the Redeem team was able to do for his career and just him in general. So we'll be right back after these commercial breaks. And we are back from the commercial break. Tech Foul here. Tim, Eric, myself, Camille, and Ken discussing Netflix's weird. The Netflix documentary, The Redeem Team. And before we had our break, we were talking about Kobe Bryant's, arrival to Team USA and what he was going through at that time. Tim already said, I was not a fan of him at that time. I was not a fan of Kobe at that time. And let me just also add, part of why I was not a Kobe fan was because of Ken. The guy over here. He is also part of why I didn't like Kobe, because he loved Kobe so much. And I felt like, I was like, no, man. Then they cheated the Kings in that one series. And I was like, no. Like, y'all caught one. But Ken was Kobe's biggest fan. So, like, I do want to ask you, going back to that time with all that was going on around him, 3 rings with Shaq. Now he's on his own. Where were you in your particular Kobe fandom? And when you saw that he was joining Team USA, were you excited about him doing that? Or were you just kind of like, whatever?
Well, around that time, I felt like I had to, because he wasn't getting the support from everyone else. Like, he was like basically like the most hated man in the NBA around that time. So I think that kind of elevated my fandom for him, just because I felt like I had to go even harder for him. Like, I understand, what's going on, legal troubles and stuff like that, but he still is like one of the greats at this point still. But my personal opinion for when he was going to Team USA, I felt like I wanted him to not to do it. Like, I felt like it was too much. I felt like he needed to just chill, and because like if we go back and like we find the dates that like he went to court and like the games that he played like after or those same days, like he was dropping like 40, 50, like, he literally was leaving like everything out on the court. And like, I feel like that entire season was like so emotional for him. Like, his play was pure emotion. So I felt like he just took the summer to just relax or whatever. But as we see, like, it actually like helped him, like helped catapult him back to, where it helped him out a lot, like personally, and like, help get his mind back right, and then help turn the team around. And then also watching this too, not just like being like Tim. Hey Tim, isn't a Kobe fan. But like after watching this, like, does this change your perspective of Kobe? Like seeing like the impact that he had on the team, seeing like how like one single player was able to kind of like change the entire culture of like these other guys with these huge like egos and everything like that.
You're muted, sir.
You're muted.
To be fair, I do remember hearing some of these kind of stories about Kobe coming out around the time that he joined Team USA.
Mm-hmm.
This was the start of me respecting him as a player, as opposed to just like saying fuck him altogether. So it did. His run with the Olympic team did help kind of change my perspective on it. Watching this actually kind of like, okay, this is. I thought this was okay. I respect him a little bit more because of that or whatever, but like I said, like this was around the turning point for me anyways, as far as like I still didn't fuck with him, but I started respecting his actual game on the court, because I'm like, bro, the Nick, he just cold, bro. he just like, yeah, so it was still fuck him, but I respected him a lot more after the Olympic run. And just
I know about the fuck him list.
And I did do some quick checks. I was trying to make sure I had my dates right. So the court stuff was around the 2004 Olympics, which is part of why he didn't join that Olympics. And then going into the 2008, I think he was injured the year before, or around
was that the hand?
I think so. I'm double checking the background. But at this point, he had all of the court stuff kind of behind him. He had already lost. I think he lost quite a few endorsements at that period of time. And it was interesting too when they were talking about like the dynamic of the team, and they're like, you got Kobe coming in here, and you know, Kobe in his prime. I think Kobe was like 28, 29, and it's like, okay, that's Kobe. And then you got LeBron, who's the young guy who's coming up, and he's dragging some trash Cleveland teams to some places at this point. And it's like, okay, every argument is, who's the best player in the world? Is it LeBron or is it Kobe? Is it LeBron or is it Kobe? Is it LeBron or is it Kobe? And at the time, it was like, okay, you adding Kobe to this team, how is that going to change the dynamic that they got going on right here? Because if the two lead dogs here aren't getting along, or whatever the case may be, it caused some serious disharmony amongst the rest of the team. So it was really interesting to kind of see how LeBron and Kobe played off of each other. Like, I've heard so much about LeBron's leadership style and who he is as a teammate, and you always hear the stories, but it was kind of interesting being able to see like the behind the scenes footage of him, and he's cracking jokes, and he's trying to just keep it light, because he's like, that's what I'm gonna have to do here. Like, Kobe ain't gonna talk too much, but that's okay. I like to talk. Like, I got that. Like, I can do that. Kobe's the on court. I'll do it here. I can talk. I can keep everything light and going on in the background while we're doing this. So I loved watching their dynamic and grow and flourish a little bit more.
It's a real good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
It was dope how his work ethic rubbed off on everybody else, which I've always been, and everybody who knows me fucks with defense. I've always been a big defensive guy, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever sport it is. I've always been a fan of defense. Kobe earned their respect by coming in first and foremost playing fucking defense. Like, bro, stop with this Olay shit. No, you ain't going, do something. Next thing you know, cats are starting to try to play a little better defense. The next thing you know, he working out in the morning. They parlaying until 5 a.m. He already got sweat. They're like, Melo told it perfectly. Melo's storytelling was perfect. But long story short, the motherfuckers coming in at 5 a.m. Kobe just got done lifting weights and shit. Like, bro, what the fuck you finna do? I'm finna go to the gym. They're like, oh, hell no. It's too damn early in the morning. He on his way to the gym. They just coming in from the club at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That was a great story.
That was beautiful.
That's a great story. And it goes back to that, like, Team USA is coming together. They're doing things together. So they're like, we in Vegas. We gonna go out for a night. Kobe, you trying to come with? And Kobe like, nah, y'all got that. And it was funny hearing the different people like recounting the story because it's how life goes, where the details are a little fuzzy, but the general message of it remains the same. Because I forget, I think LeBron was like, "Yeah, we got back in 5, 6 in the morning." You got Carmelo like, "Oh, it was like 4 in the morning," and you got these.
Boozer like, "Yeah, we about 5 a.m." He already working for sweat. Ain't nobody talking about no sweat. And all of a sudden, Carlos Boozer or with Melo nowhere with the sweat,
full sweat. Hey, I respect Melo though, because he ain't jacking like, "Yeah, you know, I ain't no good." He's like, "Nigga, I'm going to sleep." I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about.
Y'all niggas got it.
Exactly. I'm going to bed.
And people kind of make it seem as if he's like the last one to kind of be like, all right, I'm gonna come wake up with y'all and go work out too. Because the first two on board when they saw Kobe was Bron and D Wade, where they were like, oh,
does that make sense though? When I seen that, I was like, oh, that makes sense to me.
It was also funny, like talk about Boozer. Like Boozer kept trying to like lump himself in with the other ones that were on the 04 team. He's like, yeah, it was just the 4 of us from that same team, and like. When you talk to D Wade and LeBron and Carmelo, they all just talk about the other 3, like the 3 of them, like they never included Boozer.
Like, LeBron wanted Boozer though. I mean, didn't he get a Boozer after the Olympics too?
No,
wasn't that the whole fiasco?
Wait, you said didn't he get?
Didn't LeBron get Boozer after that? When did he join?
Boozer left.
Oh no, he left in 03. But he joined 4. Okay, my bad.
But no, I mean, it goes to show again, like outside of USA trying to come together with the camaraderie, you also need that work ethic. And Kobe was able to kind of come in and inject some of that into the team, and that was like another step I feel like they needed to take because as we had saw before his arrival, they played a lot better, but they still weren't able to go at the FIBA World Championships in 06. 07 comes, Kobe comes. The work ethic, the culture, and that way changes a little bit more because now everybody's aware. Like we're in the presence of one of like he's a great. We know he's a great. We watching him. We soaking this up, and they start taking on some of his work habits, like Tim was mentioning, and you start seeing the results. 07 comes. They head to the FIBA the World Championships in 07.
FIBA Americas.
The Americas. FIBA Americas in 07.
Before we get to that tournament, I want to say, like, I think that's why, you know, like, people will be like, oh, he spent the summer with Team USA. He's about to have, like, the best year of his career. Like, I think that being exposed to different people's work habits, like, having, like, that iron sharpens iron, like, summer, like, it's not necessarily playing for Team USA. It's practicing with Team USA that really gets people's, like, makes them better. Because, like, you playing against the best every day in practice, you have to figure it out. So like then you take what you learn over that summer and then apply that to the NBA. Like you off and running. So like I think that to that point, like I think Kobe he seemed to have instilled like that sense of competition that kind of like help people become better professional basketball players.
It's a matter of do you want it like he wanted? Like you see, okay, you practicing with the best, you're going against the best every day. You see his work habits, you see he giving it up. Like, do you want it as bad as he? Like that's why I said when Wade and LeBron joined, that makes sense. Like shit, you talking about them 3 as the best 3 players in the NBA, so it only makes sense that them 2 are the next 2 to jump on immediately. Like, do you want it?
And I think that's part of the reason why, like, the 04 team was what the 04 team was, because the vets that you had, like, set aside Tim Duncan, like, we know what Tim Duncan is, but Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, like, they weren't known as, like, they're competitors, but they weren't known as workers. They weren't known as professionals, you know what I mean? Like, so, like, they come show up in the gym and they just, like, let's go hoop. Whereas Kobe, like Kobe got every ounce of talent, of success out of his body. Like, whatever Kobe's maximum is, that's what we got. Because, like, he made sure he wasn't leaving nothing there. So, like, if that was the culture before Kobe, where it's, you know, oh, we just show up, we hoop, we go out, we have fun, we kicking it, blah, blah, blah. Like, that next generation of superstars that came up behind them, your LeBrons, your Dwayne Wades, Chris Pauls, like, they all had, I mean, injuries notwithstanding, they all had long careers because, like, they put in the work year after year to get better.
That's facts. That's facts. And then we look at the team makeup too, just as well. I feel like the team makeup just made more sense with that USA team. So, because outside of them, like they did have 3 of the best point guards at the time. They ended up competing in the 08 Olympics with them on that Redeem team, and
In the center, Dwight was still in his prime.
I mean, like it was a stacked team. It was a stacked team. They win the 07 FIBA Americas, qualify for Beijing. It's on and running. And this time in the Olympics, you can see they're doing things different. There's no yachts. They are not staying in the yacht off the coast.
Ain't no banana boats.
No banana boats. They staying in Olympic Village. You see them going out to other Team USA sporting events together in groups, cheering on the other athletes. That was cool to see. And another thing that was cool to see was how freaking famous Kobe Bryant was in China.
Oh, they was famous.
They thought they niggas was famous until they got over there.
Facts. That's what Brian had to be like. Oh my god!
Like, shit, I thought I was here with this nigga. I ain't touching this motherfucker. Like here, I need that.
He damn near was Michael Jackson level over here for real.
Low key.
The cynic in me is thinking like that Chinese market. That's why so many people wanted to play in 08 versus 04.
They did mention
like think
some
of
of that business.
Dwayne Wade is the primary endorser for a Chinese footwear company now. Like the seeds that he planted on that 08 team, like reap benefits like throughout his career. Same with Bron. Bron is huge in China to this day because again, but
the love Kobe got, that was kind of like what you were seeing when Jordan was traveling in Barcelona with the Dream Team, where it was like everyone else, like, yeah, we get it, y'all good, we like y'all too, but Jordan, like that's who we really want to see. Like I think it was Steve Kerr who had mentioned something like, I was able to just kind of walk out the front of the hotel and I would just take off all my Team USA. I would just walk out, nobody bothered me. Jordan tried to sneak out of different doors in the background to try to get to where he was getting to, and I didn't have those problems. I just went right out the door. And Kobe it made me laugh because he was like, I'm kind of embarrassed, but like the support's cool. And it's right. And it's all
I would have been basket in that shit.
He was.
I'm here. Acknowledge me.
Yeah, I am that cold. Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah, I actually thought about the other Michael, like the way that they're reacting to it. Like that was Michael Jackson level.
Yeah, that's what like that was.
Passing out the motherfuckers. Like, come on,
people
now.
was fainting.
Fainting.
You pass it out in public because you seen this man? Bro. Come on now, like what's going on here?
Like when Michael Jackson didn't say a word and people was just fainting.
He just stood on the stage. People just.
I love you, Michael.
They picking grown men up off the ground,
dragging you by your ankles and shit.
Man, listen. Once the Olympics kicked off, though, and it was time to put the ball up, roll the ball out, and hoop, Team USA was ready. They got to have some get backs. Played China, beat them. That's cool. Then they got to play Greece again. They was like, okay, yeah, we got some beef with Greece, and we got to get this one back. Got they get back. Played Spain.
Yeah. Yes.
And that first game against Spain, Kobe's buddy Paul Gasol was hooping. Everybody's talking about Spain is the other team, the other country that could really win it all. And Spain is so good. And Spain.
2006 World Champions.
And Kobe is like, I'm going to run through Paul in the first play.
Run through that.
I was thinking of that Marshawn Lynch quote where he like run through a motherfucker face over and over. Like the way he kept rewinding
it. He smoked Paul Gasol, bro.
The other player reactions made it so like when I saw Chris Bosh, he's like, oh! I was like, oh! I was like, animated. I love it. Okay.
Paul face though, when he was on the ground, he was just like, "Oh shit, nigga, what's happening? You out of your hands?"
That's all I'm kicking it.
You came by the crib yesterday. What
Oh,
we
who's this
doing?
kid? What's wrong?
The teammates loved you and shit. You brought pizza, my nigga. What happened? How did we get here?
My wife in the audience. Nigga, you out here embarrassing me.
The most terrible.
Blew him out. Blew him out.
You know,
Nope.
I'm sorry. Another random fandom. Rudy Fernandez. I used to fuck with Rudy Fernandez too.
That man turned into Michael Jordan in the gold medal game.
Nigga. Rudy Fernandez was. I always felt like he should have been. Never mind. I ain't gonna get into all that. But yeah, I was a fan of Rudy Fernandez too. Kind of like how folks feel about old boy that played on the Magic. Now he on New York. Fucking light skinned cat. Like it's a foreign cat. Fournier. Evan Fournier.
Is he?
Rudy, yeah, he's in New York now. That's what I'm saying. He was on Orlando. He's in New York. But I felt about Evan Fournier is how I felt about Rudy Fernandez. I felt like Rudy Fernandez could have been like a nice bucket off the bench, shit like that. 3 points, nice three, nice mid range. He's crafty when he needs to be and shit like that. It didn't pan out for him.
No, it didn't. It didn't. But
the Olympics, he was cold.
But it panned out for Team USA. They got through the group play pretty, easy. Through it. Beat Australia. Next up is Argentina.
Get back.
And one thing I did forget about the 08 team going into it, because they won in 07, everything was good, but then you got to make it through the 07 NBA season healthy. I had completely forgot that's when D-Wade got hurt. I forgot all the noise that was around D-Wade about his play. So to see him be able to come back in 08 and how they motivated him, like, oh, everybody's saying Ginobili's the best, the second best shooting guard in the league. And when D-Wade was like, all right, Kobe, you got a itching. Jesus, that was a loud scratch. Sound like you got scratching your bones or something.
Probably scratching the mic. The mic right here too.
Yes, that's what it was. All right. To see D-Wade's reaction when he's like, okay, I'll give you Kobe if you want to say Kobe is better than me, but you ain't about to say that Manu Ginobili's better than me in this moment.
Nah.
All right, boss. All right. They come out there playing, on fire. Then Ginobili gets hurt.
Ginobili was cold.
And then here comes Argentina. Hooping.
Cooking them. They lost their best player and decided to keep cooking.
It took Team USA a while to be able to get that separation, but once they were able to, they took off.
Luis Scola's an issue.
It was
an issue.
Argentina was a good. I mean, it was a good team.
Even when they played together for forever, so even if they weren't just built around Ginobili.
Mm-hmm. And Delfino was there too. Delfino was nice too.
So, gold medal game, USA and Spain. We already mentioned Spain had already got worked. They got waxed before Paul Gasol got his chest ran through. They lost embarrassingly. Team USA is like, we know they're gonna come out and they're gonna try to get their get back. We got to be mentally sharp. And that game was back and forth and back and forth. And it was funny because as I was watching the documentary, I was sitting there and I was like, I did watch this game live because I started remembering things of the game as I was watching it. But memories are funny in that way where I just don't think about the 08 Olympics often. So it's not an active thought in my head. But once I started seeing it, I was like, oh yeah, this game.
It was a good ass game.
Every time they thought to knock them out, here comes Spain. They was not about to go.
Stay within 5 to 6 points, bro. You always at the striking distance.
Always. But Team USA did pull it out. They got their gold medal. I loved, was it Doug Collins?
Mm-hmm.
I loved the involvement with him, and I did not know the history of the 72 team.
Yeah, I did not know that. That was fucked up. Yeah,
who could be on this? To be add this time back. And
hey, yo, give him 3 seconds.
Give him a 3.
What? For
it
what?
Is all they needed. He was right.
What was the clock? What was the issue? Y'all scored. We need 3 more seconds.
But to see Doug Collins be able to kind of get that embrace, and that's when I was starting to feel like, okay, like Team USA has really built some like through the decades of players and whatnot. It's really cool to see. But that's kind of how the documentary ends. You know, you see them celebrating they win. They're talking about what it meant for them and how big it is and all the other good stuff. So do y'all have any other thoughts on the 08, the gold medal game, or the team itself in general?
I enjoyed that the Redeem Team tour from start to finish. The conception of the team. Oh, and Jerry Colangelo, I didn't realize he was that like, geez Louise, bro.
Yeah.
Like I understood like he built some bangers, but I didn't realize he was building bangers, bro. So shout out to that hire and that kind of really infrastructure Team USA. That's all I really got to say.
Eric, Ken?
I've stated my opinions on documentaries produced by the subjects of the documentaries, and this felt a lot like myth making because, again, I was here for all of this, and they kind of forced some of these narratives that they pushed throughout the thing. Like, people did not think D-Wade had fallen off. He was hurt. Like, that was all it was. And the 04 team wasn't like this colossal failure that got ridiculed like all summer. Like, people forgot about that shit by the time
niggas was
they got
smoking their ass.
ridiculed.
No, they was smoking their ass for a while.
They got ridiculed.
For a while.
People forgot about that shit by the time the NBA season came back around.
No, bro.
I'll say this because they're talking about like we don't have that much time. We got like 2 minutes left or so, but they mentioned the fact that like, you know, you have Celtics fans come up to Kobe being like, go get gold for the United States. And maybe it's me as a black woman in my own bubble, but like I don't have that sense of patriotism when it comes towards Olympic sports. Like, of course, like yeah, it'd be cool if Team USA wins, but like I wouldn't see Jimmy Butler or some, you know, right now and be like, oh, fam, like go and get that goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, F the Heat. Like that's where I'm at right now, and I love you, Marquette, love all the way, whatever. But like, no, I'm not feeling that. So
I just like to what you said earlier. It's like you don't think about the 08 Olympics very often. Even the Olympics that we just had last year, like I don't think about that often. It's not top of mind. Like even if they would have lost the gold medal, I wouldn't have been like, oh man, this team is frauds. And every time I see Jason Tatum, I'm gonna look at him like, you a fraud because the Olympic team lost. It's like, all right, it happened. We move on, and then NBA season come along. Like, I get it, but it was enjoyable. Like it was an entertaining documentary, but it's just like it felt like myth making to me, which.
I think what Americans, that I think it's like a thing, like we don't really care about it unless we lose. And I feel like that's really all that it comes down to. Like if we win, like that's what we expect. But when we're losing and things are close, it's like, wait. Let me pay attention right now because what's happening right here. And that's how I kind of felt with this past Olympic team, where it was like people were like, oh, they losing. Like I'm about to watch because now I don't know if it's going to be a guaranteed thing. And I'm like, y'all weird, but whatever the case may be. Ken, do you have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
I definitely enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it.
Facts. Okay, rapid fire real quick. Go around tech order. Rate this documentary out of 5 stars. Tim?
I'll give it a 5. It almost made me cry like 2 different points.
That's real. That Kobe stuff was touching. Eric?
Yeah, I give it a 4. The Kobe stuff got to me.
Same. I'll give it a good 4. 4.5. Ken?
Yeah. I had a Denzel tier. I wasn't ready to hear it. He still gets me.
That's fair. Yeah, it's still surreal that he's not here. But definitely enjoy the documentary. If you have not seen it, but you decide to listen to us talk about it, kudos to you. We hope that you go and check that out. And again, we say thank you to the Good News as we sign off for the final time. But if you want to follow us, make sure that you hit up, Technical Foul Podcast on Facebook, at Technical Foul, on Instagram, on Twitter, Technical Foul Podcast on Facebook. We are still putting out weekly shows, as we always have been, on whatever your favorite streaming platform is. So make sure that y'all check us out going forward. And if you want to follow me on social media personally, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On Twitter, Instagram, these PSN 2K Streets, and Apple Music at Camille Monet, CAMILLEMONAE, because
Your mom is fancy. Hey.
yeah.
You want fancy no more.
Hey. Yes. Yes.
It will be allowed every time it's brought up.
Exactly. I'm gonna jump right on it.
Hey, you're a 2021 NBA champion, Milwaukee Bucks burner on Twitter.
That's all you get.
That is all you get.
Everyday_gentleman on Instagram. Harris216 on Twitter and Snapchat.
And it's your boy TIMKINZ, the 3, aka Ketchum, aka Mr. Give It To Me. C'est la vie. So long, farewell.
Bye, y'all. Be safe.